it's Ina the Mood Reader, and today I'm going to share with you guys the 22 books I want to read in 2022. So if you are a reader like me, you have probably a TBR list that's longer than what you can actually read in your lifespan. If you peek at my Goodreads shelf, it's actually, I think mine is actually around 6,000 books, which is never gonna happen, but I like to have them all there so that I can randomly select a book to pick whenever I feel like it, I guess. But anyway, um, I have decided to look into my physical bookshelf and pick out 22 different books that um, I would be interested in reading for the next year. Of course, I have a lot of TBRs. I have a lot of plans for the year that's to come, but I would just like to have um, some books that I can pick out anytime. And most of these are actually books that I've been highly anticipating and I've just had to put off because I was in a reading slump or I had other different books I had to read. But yeah, but anyway, I'm super excited to share with you this 22 titles. This video might be a long one, so let's just get started. The first book is Last Tank Standing by Lauren Ho. I was part of a meet and greet with the author, I think a year back, and I wanted to support the author, which is why I bought it. It was pitched as Crazy Rich Asians meets Bridget Jones' Diary, so I was super interested in the pitch. But after that show, I wasn't able to read the book, and it has been sitting on my shelf. So while I was looking at books to pick out, because I know it's just really impossible, I just wanted to spread it through different genres so I can pick out whatever I'm in the mood for. So I decided to pick this one. I think it is a fiction novel, contemporary. It might have some romance elements in it, but it's also a book filled with family dynamics. So as you can see here on the cover, it says, "Sometimes love needs a little family intervention." So we have Andrea Tang. She's 33 years old. She's living the dream when it comes to her career, but she is single, I think. So it says here, if she's about to become the lone unmarried member of her generation in the Tang clan, a disappointment her meddlesome Chinese-Malaysian family won't let her forget. She doesn't need a man to complete her, but she actually meets someone. So she can't help but wonder if, I guess, if there's room for love in her life while she is pursuing her career. So there. The next book I chose is a controversial one. It's All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. I received this one as a gift from one of my mom's friends who was unhauling her books. I also saw that this was once a Book of the Month pick, and it's also I've seen it quite a lot on those you might love it or hate it book lists. So I'm very curious about this. I think there's a forbidden romance here. It says here, "Love knows no boundaries. A beautiful and provocative love story between two unlikely people and the hard-won relationship that elevates them above the Midwestern meth lab backdrop of their lives." So yeah, it has received so many awards and so many amazing reviews. It says here from the Library Journal, "So freakishly good and dangerous, it should come with a warning label. It's powerful, intelligent, honest, and unsentimental." From Akirkus review starred review. So it also has a reading guide, a discussion guide here. So that's another interesting thing. So there, excited about this. Here comes a YA pick. So of course, I wouldn't let this list be complete without a YA pick. I wasn't expecting this book to be this thick. I think it's around almost 500 pages or 500 pages. It's Parachutes by Kelly Yang. I bought my copy from Book Outlet. I think I've seen Moe from a cup of Moe raving about this as one of like her super as one of the books she enjoyed a lot. And yeah, so it says here they are called parachutes. Teenagers dropped off to study in the United States while their wealthy parents remain in Asia. Claire never thought she'd be one. Danny never thought she'd have to live with one. Their lives are about to change forever. So this one was blurbed by Randy Rebai and Stacey Lee. So it says here, Stacey Lee said, it's not just a searing drama exploring the lives of Asians in America. It's a courageous, empowering story about how high women can soar when they lift each other up. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to read Parachutes. Next read is a Filipino book. It's Smaller and Smaller Circles by F.H. Batacan. I got this pre-loved copy from Shopee. And I also watched the movie on Netflix a few weeks back. I actually bought the book initially thinking that I would read this before I watch the Netflix movie. But it didn't happen because I was in a slump and my family wanted to watch the film. So after watching the film, I still am motivated. I still am interested in reading this book because with how gripping the movie is, I'm sure it would be more. And the connection would be higher if I think about how it would translate on the pages. So there, it has so many reviews. This one was picked up by Soho Crime, and it's widely regarded as the first Filipino crime novel. They say it's a poetic masterpiece of literary noir. Noir? Noir. It's a sensitive depiction of time and place and a fascinating story about the Catholic Church and its place in its devotees' lives. So there. The next book I have here is Where Dreams Descend. The next book I have here is Where Dreams Descend by Janela Angeles. I wasn't expecting this book to be this heavy. And I remember I really decided to buy this because of the gold the gold foiling on the cover, and of course because Janela Angeles is a Filipino author. It's another book that I've been keeping on pushing back on my reading list because I was in a slump. But I love fantasies, I love musicals, and it has this Phantom of the Opera vibe based on the cover. I think there's romance aspects to it. The sequel is out already, and it's sparkly. So yeah, I am considering making this as one of my first reads of 2021 because I just couldn't put this off any longer. I have to read this already. So many of my of Filipino booktubers or bookish content creators I follow, like Donna from TikTok, Kat, Sai, Moe too, I guess. Most of them are raving about this. So I have to read it to find out why, if it would be a fit for a non-fantasy reading girl like me. So we'll see. Next, we have a recent Book of the Month purchase. It's Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I love myself some domestic thrillers. I especially love it when it's about marriages and whodunits. So it might be just that. I haven't read an Alice Feeney book yet, if I'm not mistaken. But I have some of her books on my shelf. So maybe this should be a great introduction to her writing. It says here on the cover, think you know the person you married? Think again. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of secrets, and an anniversary they will never forget. So it says here, things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. Every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts, and each year, Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read until now. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He can recognize friends or family or even his own wife, and Amelia is sick of feeling unseen. When Adam and Amelia win a weekend away to Scotland, it might just be what their marriage needs. They both know this weekend will make or break their relationship. But they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. Ooh, this is so exciting. If I could pick it up right now, I would, but my 2021 TBR is already complete. And of course, I would love, love, love to read the Love Hypothesis for 2022. I think it's one of the best romances in 2021. This one was hyped all over Book Talk. It was a sensation from TikTok, and I love that it was brought to life from fan fiction. Fan fiction is all I consume. Honestly, I love fan fiction a lot, and I really think that loads of fanfic writers deserve to be published. So I'm happy that what was once a Raylo fanfic is now a book you can hold in your hands. And most of the people I trust in the bookish community rave about the love hypothesis, so I'm sure I would do. So there, but I'm saving it for next year. Next is another book I've seen many people loving. It's shipped by Angie Hockman. I bought this copy from Book Outlet. And it says here that this is an enchanting, hilarious, and a perfectly delightful escape. The reason why it gained popularity mostly is because it was pitched as The Unhoneymooners meet The Hating Game. I haven't read The Unhoneymooners, but Hating Game is one of the best books ever. It's one of my favorite romances of all time. So, yeah. It says here we have a marketing manager forced to go on a cruise with her arch nemesis when they are up for the same promotion. And I think they'll be stuck on an island, I think. So there. The next book is a book I've been wanting so hard to read. In the past few years, it's really hard to find a copy of this one, and I bought this secondhand. It even has the tabs from the previous author, from the previous owner, and it's If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. It's one of the most popular dark academia books, so I've been really wanting to get my hands on a copy of it. And I told myself after I bought it, I would immediately read it, but it's been sitting on my shelf for a year now. Haven't picked it up because book buying and reading are not really the same things. So anyway, I have to have it read next year. So let's see if I would be able to succeed with that. It looks so beautiful inside. And it says here, enter the players. There were 7 of us then. 7 bright young things with wide precious futures ahead of us, though we saw no farther than the books in front of our faces. So it says, part coming-of-age story, part confession, If We Were Villains explores the magical and dangerous boundary between art and life. In this tale of loyalty and betrayal, madness and ecstasy, the players must choose what roles to play before the curtain falls. So there. The next book is a gift I received from the author. This is The Perfect World of Miwako Sumida by Clarissa Gonawan. And this is a mystery thriller. So I've wanted to have like a diverse selection for next year. Making sure that I have my Asian authors ready for my list. So this one is perfect. A perfect pick for next year. It says this is about university sophomore Miwako Sumida, who has hanged herself, leaving those closest to her reeling. In the months before her suicide, she was hiding away in a remote mountainside village. But what or whom was she running from? So we're trying to find out what happened to her, why she did it, and who are the people involved. So it's very intriguing, it's very cryptic, and yeah, I think it's perfect for my tastes, which is usually, just romance, mystery, and thriller. So there. Next, I'll be reading a very, very hype book, one that I'm very, very scared to pick up, and it's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I think this book has been sitting on my shelf for 3 years already. And it's looking at me angrily because I haven't picked it up still. It's one of my books that I'm very, very intimidated to pick up just because everybody loved it. And I know that they loved it for the lyrical writing style, and I don't usually go for lyrical writing in my reads. So, yeah, but I have to read it next year. I have to read it next year. So I will do it. Okay? So yeah, I don't think I have to introduce this book anymore, but in case you've been living under a rock, it's about Achilles, of course. The best of all the Greeks, son of the cruel sea goddess Thetis and the legendary king Peleus. Strong, swift, and beautiful, irresistible to all who meet him. Patroclus is an awkward young prince exiled from his homeland after an act of shocking violence. Brought together by chance, they forge an inseparable bond despite risking the gods' wrath. So there. It says here it's powerful, inventive, passionate, beautifully written, captivating, wildly romantic, tense, and exciting. One of the best novelistic adaptations of Homer, according to the Wall Street Journal. So there. And then I have another thriller. This time it's a thriller from a romance writer. It's When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. This is a psychological thriller, a domestic thriller. I think it says here Rear Window meets Get Out in this gripping thriller from a critically acclaimed New York Times notable author, in which the gentrification of a Brooklyn neighborhood takes on a sinister meaning. So it asks the question, when does coincidence become conspiracy? Where do people go when gentrification pushes them out? Ooh, okay. So yeah, super, super excited to read this one. Next is another book that I promised the same thing. It's Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. Oh, I just noticed that the snake is shiny. Okay. Ooh. So this is a book I brought almost brand new and it has already been injured by my shelf, but I haven't read it still. It's another thick one. How many pages? This is a 450 pager, and yeah, it's one of the most hyped books when it was published. I forgot the year. But it says here, it's a mesmerizing adult debut from Lee Bardugo, a tale of power, privilege, dark magic, and murder set among the Ivy League elite. The one reason I've been pulled in to read this is because it's dark academia and it's an Ivy League story, which is always very fascinating, I guess, for people here in the Philippines, people like me. Maybe because of Western influences in our country, which is sad, but it's there. But yeah. So it says here we have Galaxy Alex Stern. Why would you call yourself Alex if your name is Galaxy? Why not call yourself just Galaxy? So yeah, anyway, we are the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class, raised in Los Angeles by a hippie mom. Alex dropped out of school early and into a world of drug dealer boyfriends, dead end jobs, and much, much worse. By age 20, she is the sole survivor of a horrific, unsolved multiple homicide. Some might say she's thrown her life away, but at her hospital bed, Alex is offered the second chance to attend one of the world's most prestigious universities on a full-ride scholarship. What's the chance and why her? Yeah, why? Why? Oh. Huh. So I'm not sure if this is a fantasy novel, a thriller, a mystery. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. There. So very much excited to read that. Okay, and then here we have a book that has intimidated me forever. This is another book that has been on my shelf for years, and it's A Little Life by Hanya Gihara. So I've told myself time and again that I will read this, but first, it's so chunky. It's an 800-pager book. It might be the longest I have read in recent years. Like, physically, I think, yeah. I'm usually the 300-pager type. So that's one thing I'm intimidated about. The second thing that intimidates me about this book is that no one has escaped this reading without crying. Every content creator I've watched, every person I've seen reviewing this book has told people that it made them cry, and many people are warning people who are not in the right frame of mind not to read this because it's too damaging, it's too strong. So a part of me is a little scared that it might hurt me a lot, and a part of me is also scared that it might not, and it would just prove that I'm a cynical, hard person whose heart has turned to stone. So yeah, but maybe next year is my chance to read a little life. And yeah, I really hope I actually get to complete this goal and early on in the year, hopefully. So yeah, I don't have to introduce this to you, but yeah, I'm just saying that I'm reading this next year, hopefully. So there. So of course, this list would not be complete without other Book of the Month titles because majority of my recent shelf is from Book of the Month. So I have a few here. I wanted actually to just include all of them, but that's not possible, and I have to give other books a chance. So here are the Book of the Month titles I would want to read next year. First is Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. This is a procedural, I think, or it's a legal mystery thriller. And it's from an Asian author. We have Korean immigrants, and I think a mom who, yeah, a young single mother accused of killing her autistic son. So it's a powerhouse debut about how far we'll go to protect our families and our deepest secrets. I've talked about this book quite a lot already on this channel, and you know, I want to read this. I want to read this. I just need an extra, maybe 2 hours a day for reading. I don't know how, but this is another book I've been saying I'll read and haven't, and it's the final revival of Opal and Nev. It's a book about music. I love music. I love history. I love music from decades ago, music across all decades, and I love the band dynamic. So there's no reason why I haven't picked it up yet, aside from me being too busy being an adult. So there. And this one is actually a book I haven't read so much about, but I've seen it as one of Book of the Month's Book of the Year. It's a 2020 Book of the Year. So I decided to pick it out, and maybe next year would be the perfect time for me to explore what made this the Book of the Year. So yeah, I am reading The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. It says here it's about twins. Twins inseparable as children ultimately choose to live in two different worlds, one black and one white. So I think this is a historical fiction or literary fiction, which can help me diversify my genres. So yeah, we're reading this next year. We are. Okay, so here is another different read. This is one of the most hyped books recently, like in the past few months. And I couldn't find a copy here in the Philippines, so I bought this one from Book Outlet as well. I think the second book is already out, and the third one is coming soon. And I've seen people raving about the skills of the author Jennifer Lynn Barnes and saying that they actually enjoyed this one a lot. So I'm not the type to really go for fantasy books, but there's something about this that's calling my name, so we're reading this. And it says here, a thrilling blend of family secrets, illicit romance, and high-stakes treasure hunt set in the mysterious world of Texas billionaires. The non-stop twists kept me guessing until the very last page. So it's this actually fantasy? Oh, it says here, it's a thrilling new mystery. So it's not a fantasy, but it looks like a fantasy. Don't judge a book by its cover. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. I don't want to know more about it, but I just want to read it. Okay. So the next book is, we're down to the last 4. So this is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Tiffany D. Jackson is well known for her, hard-hitting contemporaries, and I'm sure Grown is um, exactly that. And I just want to read this one. If I'm not mistaken, this involves the music industry. Wait. So yeah. So it says here Corey Fields is dead. When Enchanted Jones wakes with blood on her hands and zero memory of the previous night, no one has more questions than she does. So yeah, here. Enchanted was an aspiring singer, struggling with her tight-knit family's recent move to the suburbs. Legendary R&B artist Corey Fields spots her at an audition, and suddenly her dream of becoming a professional singer takes flight. And then Corey died, and people thinks it's her. So it says that here, Tiffany D. Jackson delivers another riveting rip from the headlines mystery that exposes horrific secrets hiding behind the limelight and the power of a young woman's voice. That alone is like enough reason for us to read this next year. Read it immediately, but next year, you know? Yeah. I'm passionate about reading about artists, the music industry, and all that. So this one is a perfect pick for that. The next book is something I'm scared actually to read because it might bring me to a reading slump. A lot of people have been saying that this book bored them. A lot of people have been saying that this book is the best they've read recently. So I don't know which people to believe, but good luck to me. This is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I honestly am reading this just because of the hype, and I just want to know if it's worth the hype. It's quite a thick one, so I don't know where to squeeze it in for my year because I have quite a lot of thicks here. But yeah, again, this one doesn't need any type of introduction. Everyone active in the bookish community knows about this book, so I won't tell you any more about it. Let's just look at the cover at the back that says, "A life no one will remember, a story you will never forget." So there. Next, we have a book. Second to the last book, it's The Silent Patient, another book of the month pick by Alice Michaelides. I was supposed to put in The Maidens in this list, but most of the people I've seen are who have read the two books prefer this one over the other. They were a little disappointed with The Maiden, so I think I just read this one first to see why they prefer this over the other. And I think many people loved here on this part. It says, shocking, thought-provoking, deeply twisted, The Silent Patient is a spellbinding psychological thriller about violence, obsession, and the dark side of passion. So, see you next year, The Silent Patient. And the last book I have here is another Alice Feeney read, and this is His and Hers. So I told you earlier in this video, I'm crazy over domestic thrillers. I love me some domestic thrillers. I love it when it's about the husband and the wife. And His and Hers, I think, says that. And it says here, there are two sides to every story, yours and mine, ours and theirs, his and hers, which means someone is always lying. So it's about Anna Andrews, who is a reporter. She was asked to report on a woman's murder in Blackdown, a sleepy countryside village where she grew up. It soon becomes clear that Anna isn't just covering the story, she's at the heart of it. So Detective Chief Inspector Jack Harper is suspicious of Anna's involvement in the case. He knows she knew the victim, but he hasn't told anyone that he knew her too. Jack soon realizes he is a suspect in his own investigation. Someone knows more than they are letting on. Someone isn't telling the truth. Alternating between Anna and Jack's points of view, His and Hers is a highly addictive, fast-paced thriller with a killer twist. This is not about a marriage. Oh no. So I was fooled, but it's a different type of story, but it's a double POV. I'd still read it. Even though it wasn't what I was expecting based on the title. Anyway, yeah. those are the 22 books I'm planning to read in 2022. We have been talking for 30 minutes. So if you're still here, you are an angel. Thank you. I'm very, very excited. Reading about all of these books are like hyping me up, gearing me for the new year. And I'm very, very hopeful that I'd have a better reading year next year compared to this one. So, yeah, what books are you planning? What books are you like putting on your 2022 TBR? Please comment them down below. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, may we all be in the mood for reading in 2022. Thank you for watching this one and see you on the next. Bye!